Welcome to The Hero Maker. In this series, we follow Richard's appearances on other shows as he talks about how to grow, play, think, and live like a hero. Join him as he discusses thoughts, principles, and life lessons, all essential for anyone building their heroic brand. All that and more, only on The Hero Maker.
Just let's go back a little bit here. That was an interesting story. You started saying about when you were, I think it was 14, and you were selling things at school and whatever.
Yeah.
How did that come about in the first place? What was it? Was that like your parents, or how did that first come about?
That happened. I was 9. I think I was 9. I can't exactly remember clearly. So 9 is a fudge number from my brain. I think I was 9. My dad comes home from work one day after school, and he puts the Rich Dad Poor Dad book in my hand. One of his friends at work had got it and said, "Hey, I think your son would like this," because I was nerdy about business things and You
read Rich Dad Poor Dad at 9 years old?
I did. So my dad brought it home. I read the whole book that night, and then I read it the next day, and I read it again the day after that. So I read it 5 times in a week, cover to cover, and I was sort of obsessed. And I had, over the course of the next couple of years into, my middle school career, I managed to convince my parents to let me out of going to daycare. Right? I had to go to, Boys and Girls Club or something after school. And I convinced them that I should, instead of going to Boys and Girls Club, I should get to go to Barnes & Noble. So I would go to Barnes & Noble after school. And I would sit there in the business and marketing section, and I would read all the books that I couldn't afford. So I read like everything that had ever been printed on business and marketing and real estate and investing, and I just read all of it. And I would go to Barnes & Noble and I'd stack a set of books up next to their comfortable chairs, and I would read until my mom or my dad got off of work and came and picked me up.
What was the reaction from the staff in the store?
So the staff in the store thought I was nuts, but I started to become I always had you'd have the older gentleman who sit down next to you and be like, "What are you doing with all these books?" And I got all sorts of compliments from people as a kid. They're like, "I can't believe you're reading this kind of stuff." Essentially, it's really cool or you're insane. Either one of those those kind of responses. But I was a kid, right? So no one was ever mean to me about it. It's just, I think people were just surprised to see someone so young interested in that kind of stuff.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So my first business idea that I got from sort of all of my reading, and I was because I was always asking myself, how can I create an income that's not tied to a job, right? Because that's how everyone else earns income. And I knew from all of my reading that there was this thing called business that I didn't have much experience with. My family weren't business owners. I didn't have any entrepreneurs to look up to or ask questions to. So I was just experimenting, right? I didn't really know what was going on. And all I had was the mentors in my books. So I've since learned how important learning to ask really good questions is. And I just lucked into the ability to I was asking myself smart questions as a child, right? And I was asking myself, how can I create an income as a high school student, right? I was 13 at the time, and what came to me, I was like, we have crappy candy in the vending machines at school, right? And I was like, all the kids love candy, I love candy, everyone loves candy, but we don't have any of the good stuff, like the big Snickers bars or those big nerd ropes or other things like that. So I convinced my dad to give me a loan for $50. And he was like, oh, I don't. He's like, I could just give you $50, and I was specifically, I don't want you to give me $50. I want you to loan me $50, right? And so my dad thought I was nuts too. Still does actually, but at least at this point he's proud of me for all the stuff we've done. But I was I wanted a loan for it because I was that's the way it would happen in business, right? A bank wouldn't just give me $50. Right, so I was I convinced my dad that he should loan me $50, and I had him give it to me at a 10% interest for a month or whatever. So I owed him, $51 when we were done. And so my dad's laughing at me, right? Because what 13-year-old asks his dad to give him a loan instead of giving him $50 with an interest rate, right? That was me. And I took that $50, and then I had to, beg him to take me down to the store. I didn't pay him for gas money or anything like that because I wasn't that cool. But we went to Smart and Final, and I spent all $50 on all the big candies, and I brought him to school, and I was the proverbial kid on New York with the trench coat, opening the trench coat and check out my wares kind of thing. Except it was my backpack, and I was on campus with fancy candies, and I was selling them. I bought them all for about 50 cents a pop, and I was selling them for $2 a pop. And I sort of became known on campus as a kid with all the good candy. And over the course of 6 weeks or so, I sold about $1,500 worth of candy,
Wow.
which was really cool. And I remember two really important lessons I got from that was the first time I sold all $50 worth of candy, I had money, right? I had money, and I was like, I owed my dad money, so I gave him back the $50. And then I had to go and buy inventory, right? I had to buy more inventory to refill my stores so I could go back and sell more. And so I had made like $100 on the $50 that I bought. So I gave Dad back his $50 and I bought $50 worth more of candy. And I was like, I just did all this work and got all this sales experience and did all these things, and I have no money, right? Like I have nothing to show for it, right? Except a bag of candy, right? I had my inventory. And so like I didn't understand what profit and revenue and cost of goods sold and all that stuff was. So I was like, I don't understand how I sold $100 worth of candy and I have $0. And I had to actually like sit down and figure that out and learn the words for profit and revenue and cost of goods sold and things like that at 13.
If you want to hear the rest of this discussion, please check out the link to the full episode in the description below.